QuickBooks Pro Desktop 2021. Bank feeds, credit card, data setup. Let's get into it with Intuit's QuickBooks Pro Desktop 2021. Here we are in our bank feeds test file. We currently have the open windows open. You can open the open windows by going to the view dropdown, selecting the open windows list. We're not going to be talking about connecting to the credit card information from the financial institution. It's going to be a similar process, pretty much the same process as connecting to the banking information, although you might have a different institution that you have the credit card for. The process will be the same in order to connect to that institution. We are going to do that in our test file here once again, which you might want to do for practice. You might want to set up the test file and then connect to it either through a connection or download and upload the information to your system so you can check out what the credit card side will look like as you add the data. That's what we will do here. If you hit the banking drop down, you can go into the bank feeds and you can say you want to set up a bank feed. So same kind of process. Even though you have the center set up already, we can set up another bank feed, and then you would go through the process of basically connecting to your credit card. If it was like an American Express credit card or something like that, you can type in and search for it. Oh, actually, that one is down here too, so we can go down here to the major credit cards, and then you would go through basically the connection process. This would connect automatically. Now we're going to go in and take the data from directly the bank. You might want to do this in practice, one for practice, or two because you want to set your dates exactly. You might have a little bit more control over the date range that you're going to be setting up to download the data, or three, you might need a whole lot of data that you might not get as much as far back in time when you do the bank feed, when you do the connection. So when you do the original download of the data, if you need like a whole year's worth of data or something like that, you might be able to get more from it if you go directly to the institution. So that's going to look something like this. So if we were to take a look at that, this is, it'll change obviously on their website from institution to institution, but if you have online banking, and you probably do if you're at a major institution for a credit card institution, you want to be able to download the information. So you want to see if you can download the transactions. Most institutions will have the option to download in a QuickBooks type of format. It will have a QBO extension, which makes you think it's going to be like an online QuickBooks Online, but the QBO extension for the data file just means that's the extension for the QuickBooks data file. So you can upload that QBO file then into your desktop, QuickBooks Desktop. So you want to download, so it'll look something like this. So this is the actual QuickBooks program here. If we open up the actual data file that we're using, if we go into the data file, just so we can see all the icons that we have here, I'm going to try to minimize this a little bit, go into our data file, and then here's our data file. I'll make it large. So there's the QuickBooks data file that we're actually opening using the QuickBooks program. And then we had our checking account. This is the QBO for the checking account data that we uploaded, that I've uploaded in a previous presentation. And now we have a similar file. Once again, it's got a QBO type of extension. This is not the program. This is not an online file. This is what the data file looks like with the QBO extension if you download the data from the bank. Then there's a couple ways you can upload it to QuickBooks here. If you open up the QuickBooks program, you can then go to the banking dropdown. You can go to the bank feeds here, and then you've got the import web connect. One way you can do it. Another way is you can go to the edit the file dropdown. You can go to utilities, import, and we have the web connect files here. And then it actually oftentimes says that you should just double click on the data file. So I'm actually going to close the whole program. I'm going to close this up. And I'm going to make sure that that was the last file that I had open within it. You may not need to do that, but that's what I would typically do. The last file that I had open is the one that I want to use to open the data into. So I'm going to close this. Now we have the QuickBooks file closed. This was the last file that I had opened within QuickBooks, and I'm going to double click now on the QBO file which is the credit card data that we downloaded directly from the financial institution. So then double clicking on that finds the program. It's opening up the program automatically here. And then it's opening up bank feeds. That's the last one I had open. It's asking for the password. So I'm going to enter the password here. And there we have it. Then it says QuickBooks has received new transaction data. Please indicate whether you want to import this data or save the file for import later. I want to import it now. Always give me the option. I'm going to leave that on for the default. So it's importing the data. You are downloading transactions for the following account. So it gives us the account information. QuickBooks does not have online account to handle this. So I'm going to set up a new item here, create new QuickBooks account. It's going to be credit card, Wells Fargo. That's the one I want. So I'm going to say okay. So it says the data has been successfully imported. So I'm going to say okay. And then I often get this ribbon up top here. So if you're getting this ribbon up top and you want to get rid of that, I'm going to close this out for now and then I'll go into it. You go to the view drop down and then I'll typically put the ribbon up top and then view drop down and then I'll put it back down to the left. So there it is. And here's our credit card information. So now if I was to close this back out and go back into it, go into the banking information and then go to the bank feeds and bank feeds. So we got the institutions in the drop down here. One institution, we're in the checking account card, and then we've got the second bank feed that we have to the right. And then we have the unrecognized items that this is the first time we uploaded them. Therefore, it's not recognizing any of the items at this point in time. And we would have to then assign them. Once again, the data is in basically bank feed limbo at this point, has not been added to the financial data yet.